lot of people confuse climate and weather, thinking it's the same thing. But it's not. Climate is the usual weather pattern found in a place. This means if it snows in Europe every winter and rains every summer, that is the usual weather pattern or the climate. The problem comes in when this usual weather pattern is disturbed or changed. Hence, it's called climate change. Now, according to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change is defined as the change of a climate that is attributed directly or indirectly to human activity, altering the composition of the global atmosphere.
There are quite a few number of non-government organizations around the Pacific who are directly dealing with the issue of climate change. That includes the Pacific Island Climate Action Network, which is part of the CAN International, and also the Tuvalu Climate Action Network, including the Kiribati Climate Action Network, and not forgetting the 350 Pacific, who are actually doing a very good job on the ground in terms of combating climate change on the ground.
How the world and Kiribati contribute to climate change. Climate change, which is caused high concentration of greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide and methane are released into the atmosphere from factories, cars, smokers, farms, airplanes, electricity houses, and other human industries that release these toxic greenhouse gases. These greenhouse gases trap the sun's rays, which warms the earth and results in the melt of ice caps in the North and South Poles. Deforestation is another factor which causes climate change, as the lack of forests and trees, which helps in absorbing some of the greenhouse gas, are cut down. Destruction of the reefs remove the barrier of waves to break. Then the waves break closer to the shore and damage the land, causing soil erosion on low-level islands. Coral bleaching is an impact of climate change, which is caused by the increase in the sea temperature. When the water is too warm, coral will expand the algae living in their tissue, causing the coral to turn completely white. Corals can survive a bleaching event, but they are under more stress and are subject to mortality. With the cause of climate change, there are impacts such as loss of land due to coral erosion, sea level rising, and poverty due to infertile soil. There are also some health issues due to stagnant water. These issues are some of the concern for Kiribati people. Other issues such as the overexploitation of resources in both sea and land, polluting such as water pollution, and littering excessive emission from vehicles cause destruction of habitats. Illegal land and gravel mining and illegal development activities also threaten the life of the Kiribati people. While in Kiribati, we had a tour around Tarawa. When we went to the northern side of the island, we drove on a long causeway between Bisho and Bairiki. As we drove, I saw how beautiful the ocean lagoon was, with its vast blue water and beautiful scenery. The causeway was being renovated, so it was dusty and rough. But what I never realized was that half an hour away from the causeway exists an island called Bikiman. This island exists right in the middle of the lagoon. I only realized that there was an island there after I had a conversation with a student from the local theological college who pointed it out. The reason it's not visible to the naked eye is because it's submerged under the water. The island sank in the early 1990s, where the construction of the causeway between Bishu and Bairiki was taking place. Today, if you visit Bikiman, you would be standing in knee-deep water. According to the student, a similar case happened in Beru, south of Tarawa, where a new causeway was built by the local people with help from foreign countries to make it more convenient for people to travel by car across the island. However, the causeway slowed down the current from going in and out of the lagoon, which along with the rising sea level and harsh sun, causing soil erosion on the shoreline. The hot sun also heated up the water, killing the plants and trees which are along the shore.
The church has a negative attitude towards climate change and its resilience towards action to climate change, which has led to little or no participation in ecological involvement and combating the issues of climate change. Due to this denial, the fact of climate change being a reality, the church leadership has intensified messages of faith and not action because they believe in God's promise to Noah through the rainbow that no destruction will ever be caused on earth by water, quoting Genesis chapter 6 all the way to chapter 9. Climate change is a reality in Kiribati, but the church has not actively engaged itself in the fight to curb the problem. This has led to the church membership and the communities at large not to be well informed of the situation. Instead, the church has opted to encouraging its membership and communities to hold on so firmly to their faith with a perception that God will rescue them from the situation just like He did during the time of Noah and the flood.
I think we should start reading the Bible differently, not reading the Bible as it was in the past, when the missionary came, when they start telling us their own absolute way of doing things. But it's about time to resist that conscience, and we should start developing a new lens of reading the Bible that can incorporate different issues, emerging issues on the ground. And we should start also looking into Noah, from a different perspective. Let alone the traditional reading of Noah, but we should come up with a new liberal way of looking at the story of Noah from a climatic lens, rather than from that heroic interpretation of Noah as a hero in the narrative. So the encouragement is that we should find ways of looking at, find different opportunities to read the Bible freely and from your own context that will allow us more space to engage with the Bible and practice in our daily life.
The government of Kiribati has taken action by organizing workshops through various government ministries to engage their communities and the church leadership. But there has always been small turnout and little participation by people. During our stay in Kiribati as participants, we visited one of the islands called Abeyan that has been seriously hit by climate change, and we saw how it has affected people's lives so negatively. The sea level started rising in 1964, according to sources and some few people who were interviewed. The government of Kiribati has sponsored so many churches, such as the Catholic Church and the KUC, to relocate to other places where it's not been affected. And all the buildings that were struck were left as monument up to date. Plans from the government may take long to be achieved, although land has been bought by government of Kiribati in Fiji to help relocate the people if the worst come to worst.
Kiribati is experiencing many issues and struggles, such as building seawalls. However, this is happening less because they are being destroyed. The government is concerned about wasting money, floating and high sea levels. Many villages have to move because of the rising sea levels. Seawater has contaminated the plants and the soil. Even the issue of warmer water has made fishing a challenge.
Thank you. I think the most important message for you to take back home is the culture of recognition. That is very important. That whatever we do in life, we have to recognize, realize that there are other people living in the other parts of the world that may be or directly or indirectly affected by our actions. So that's a measure we should take into our communities at the international level. We should adopt the culture of recognition, recognizing other people as human beings as well.
The hope of Kiribati is for their country to be safe and for God to protect them. People need to realize that Kiribati does not have enough money for the resources they need. We cannot blame or criticize their faith in God. We need to consider their situation and the size of their country compared to the rest of the world. They cannot fight this alone. Having been to Kiribati, the team became aware of the everyday habits that contribute to climate change and other problems in the world. We constantly say that we don't want to waste food and water. We want to plant more trees and use less electricity. But the way we live makes it difficult to change. Our team got the opportunity to plant mangroves. This exposure helped them realize that it is a process. Planting was not easy, and you have to wait for the mangrove to grow. However, when it grows, it contributes to nature and helps soil erosion. This was helpful, but the real change must come from each of us.